so I've kind of cleaned up and deleted the fields I don't need. One area we do want to clean up is this column here, the admin use column. We want to make sure there are no blanks, or people get confused with admin use and search categories. The admin use is really for us when we are doing vitals. So as an example, you have a women's group, but they're part of Shine. So we want to be able to say the overarching group is in the women's bucket, but we don't want to count it for vitals because it's ministry, women's ministry. So there's one example of how we use the admin use to help us get the right data. So when people have, and also when leadership says, hey, how many college groups do we have, or how many Spanish groups do we have? So we can't put every group in every bucket. So when we go to this next layer, we can say we have Spanish groups and there's 3 women Spanish groups. So it's a layering feature that allows us to better identify and keep the data separate. So as leadership says, hey, we want to start looking at this or that it's not a big change. We just can filter it by additional information. So really we need to make sure it's just one is selected, and again, a lot of people get this confused. They think it has something to do with search results. The other thing we don't want to see are blanks. So my next step then is I'm going to go ahead and clean this stuff up, which means I've got to update it not only here on the spreadsheet, but within the database. So the other option is update the database only and rerun the report. Sometimes I don't have time to do that because it takes hours for this report to run. So sometimes I get the data out and then I make all the edits to the spreadsheet, and then I have a volunteer that can look at the edits, and this is something a volunteer can go in and update and keep clean for us. That's pretty simple for them to do. So I'm going to pause this and let's take a look. So this first one's general co-ed and married couples, right? So how do we figure out which one it is? Well, they're in the group type married couples. I see in their group name we've got married. This is a couples group, but we welcome single adults too. So they're probably more suited towards general co-ed than they are married. So at this point then I would just say change to the gen co-ed bucket. And then I would and again I'm highlighting the red piece. So if I give this to a volunteer, they know quickly, okay, those are the things that need to change. Co-ed, married or single. And a lot of this is judgment. So then I would remove married couples and leave it that way. And here's blanks. Blanks aren't good either. So we have Latasca James, all in. She's a co-ed group, so we just need to go in and make her general co-ed. So again, I am updating these things on the fly here. Ideally, I would be doing it in the database and then rerunning the report. Here's another blank group. This is a test group, so we don't even want to count this, and the test group we can leave as is, so we're just going to delete that. Hobbies and special interest, crafting for Christ. So it looks like this is co-ed, general co-ed, special interest. So again, I would make this a general co-ed group. They're in the big bucket hobbies and interests, but if we're ever asked, well, out of the hobbies and interests, how many of them are women focused? How many of them are men focused? How many of them are Spanish focused or young adult? then we have that extra layer if leadership comes back and says, hey, we'd like to see this. And sometimes they do. So it just helps us. Now this one says schedule end date. So this group's closed. So host, scheduled end date, closing group, no response from leader. Okay, so I need to make this inactive. And there's something out there, a video on that. Again, don't want to count this as part of vitals. So these are the things I'm looking at every month when I run the report. Here's another end date, 8/3/17. Fabulous, inactive. So he needs to be moved. He's currently sitting in the prayer bucket. So we need to make inactive. There's an inactive bucket. We just want to pull them into that so we can ensure we have the best possible, cleanest data. So so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down and ensure everybody only has at least one admin type. And then I will